Welcome to my channel. We humbly request that you watch the full video and don't skip the video for better understanding and to gain knowledge.
More than 50 ships and 20 planes have vanished in the stretch of water between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. This history has fueled decades of theories about mystical powers and vortices that pull objects into other dimensions. The event that solidified this myth was the 1945 disappearance of Flight 19. 5 U.S. Navy planes took off on a routine training mission and never returned, leaving no trace of the 14 men on board, despite one of the largest searches in history. However, the data tells a different story. This heat map shows the thousands of vessels that pass through these lanes every day, and as the bar chart illustrates, the percentage of accidents here is statistically identical to any other part of the world's oceans. If the math shows that this region is no more dangerous than any other stretch of sea, we have to look for the source of the mystery elsewhere. The gap between the boring statistics and the terrifying legend suggests our interest in the triangle is less about the water itself and more about how we perceive patterns in random tragedies. There are no official maps that outline the Bermuda Triangle. Because it has no fixed borders, theorists can move the boundaries to fit whichever mystery they are trying to explain. For example, the Mary Celeste is often cited as a triangle mystery. It was found abandoned and intact in 1872, a ghost ship with no sign of its crew. But the ship was actually found 400 miles east of the Azores. In reality, it was thousands of miles away from the traditional boundaries of the triangle. To include the Mary Celeste, believers have to stretch the triangle's eastern point across the North Atlantic, warping the shape into a massive trapezoid to force the evidence to fit. This pattern of ignoring geography extends to how we explain events that actually happen inside the zone, where paranormal stories are often preferred over documented human mistakes. In the case of Flight 19, records show the flight leader was a poor navigator who had gotten lost at sea on at least 2 previous occasions. When his compasses ailed that day, his radio transmissions revealed he was convinced he was flying over the Florida Keys. He was actually looking at the Bahamas. By mistaking those islands for the Keys, he led his patrol east into the open Atlantic until they ran out of fuel. We tend to overlook these navigational errors and warped borders because a mundane pilot mistake is less compelling than a legendary curse. The natural environment provides enough danger without a curse. The Gulf Stream runs through this area, creating a strong current that can cause weather to change into a violent storm in minutes. The USS Cyclops, a 500-foot cargo ship carrying 11,000 tons of heavy manganese, likely fell victim to these forces. Top-heavy and sailing through a known storm zone, it could have capsized and sunk too fast to send a distress signal. The reason no wreckage was found lies in the geography of the seafloor. The ocean here reaches depths of 30,000 feet, an abyss deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Geologists have also identified a unique structure directly beneath the island of Bermuda. Instead of a standard extinct volcano, they found an active tectonic event drawing material from a deep, isolated region known as the Mantle Transition Zone. This structure is a pocket of molten rock and minerals that bubbled and expanded hundreds of miles below the surface. It proves the Atlantic floor is an active geological process with instabilities that we are only just beginning to map. These combined forces, abyssal depths, the erratic Gulf Stream current, and an active geological foundation prove the region's natural systems are powerful enough to explain any disappearance. The habit of connecting unrelated events into a single mystery hasn't stopped at the Atlantic. Theorists have identified 11 other locations around the globe that they claim are siblings to the Bermuda Triangle. These vile vortices include sites like the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, where theorists cite its sudden abandonment as evidence of a global paranormal network. The list expands to include the Moai statues of Easter Island, using the mystery of how massive stones were moved to link this overarching theory. Even the North and South Poles are included, with the disappearance of 19th-century Arctic explorers added to the list of vortex casualties. These locations span thousands of miles and different eras of history, yet they are presented as parts of a single, hidden geometric plan. These 12 sites are scattered across the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, and the poles. By drawing lines between these points, theorists form a perfect 20-sided icosahedron. It is a striking visual, but it requires us to ignore the vast differences between a missing 1945 plane and a ruined ancient city. This global shape is the result of confirmation bias. It requires lumping together bad weather, human error, and unrelated archaeology until a pattern emerges from the noise. The Bermuda Triangle and its 11 siblings persist because we are pattern-seeking animals. We would rather invent a global 20-sided conspiracy than accept that the natural world is occasionally random, dangerous, and indifferent to us.
Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates.